In this video, I will be going through the 20 best of Warren Buffett's quotes and what they mean. Why do so many of us look for investment inspiration through Warren Buffett quotes? Buffett bought his first stock when he was just 11 years old. He then used savings to buy and install pinball machines in local shops when he was still a teenager. Although he got rejected from Harvard, a decision that admissions officers now surely regret, he would go on to become one of the world's most famous and wealthy value investors. But before we start, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Now let's get into the video. The most important of the Warren Buffett quotes. Rule number 1 is never lose money. Rule number 2 is never forget rule number 1, otherwise known as Warren Buffett's golden rule. This quote sets the foundation for his philosophy for investing. Essentially, what Buffett is saying is that capital preservation should be the main priority for any investor when deciding to place your money into the market. In other words, stay rational. Someone's sitting in the shade today because someone planted a tree a long time ago. This quote forms a foundational pillar of Buffett's long-term investment ethos. What he is saying here is that in life, as with investing, you have to think about the grand trajectory of things. Overall, there is no better time to start thinking about that path than today. A tree takes time to grow, and so will most smart investments. Start early, be patient, and let your money grow. If you aren't willing to own a stock for 10 years, don't even think about owning it for 10 minutes. We love this quote because it offers perhaps the best insight into how Warren Buffett approaches active and passive investment debate. Siding with passive investor legends like Jack Bogle, the founder of Vanguard Group, Buffett urges that we pick our investments wisely and be ready to hold on to them for the long haul if we wish to see real rewards. Our favorite holding period is forever. When Buffett explained that you should not hold a stock for 10 minutes if you don't intend to hold it for 10 years. In actuality, we shouldn't take him literally. He is not making 10 years the ideal or the cap. Rather, the point is that you should not hold a stock in the short term if you are not willing to hold it for the long term. Price is what you pay, value is what you get. This famous Buffett quote strikes at the heart of the value investor approach and reveals the secret of how Buffett made his fortune. It's far better to buy a wonderful company at a fair price than a fair company at a wonderful price. One way to misinterpret Warren Buffett's value investing is to assume that the only criteria for buying a stock is that it should be undervalued. This quote seeks to correct that misunderstanding. There are many companies with poor fundamentals that are undervalued. Being undervalued is not an all-telling sign that a stock is a good buy. Rather, the primary task of the investor is to consider if the stock has good fundamentals to begin with, if the company is wonderful. The most important quality for an investor is temperament, not intellect. A disciplined investor is a wealthy investor because they have learned that market fluctuations are normal and that patience pays off. In this quote, Buffett touches on the psychological nerve of most investment failures. Humans are by nature irrational beings and are often tempted to make trades when they think the market is working against them. In contrast, it is the well-tempered investor that learns to not watch the market. This is the person that ultimately ends up reaping the most rewards over the long term. Risk comes from not knowing what you are doing. A little bit of research can reduce a lot of risk. Buffett is ever the pedantic investment professor, and in this quote, he reminds us that we should study. However, this advice can be often forgotten, especially after an investor has seen some success. A positive feedback loop can be misleading and indeed dangerous for investors. Never invest in a business you cannot understand. What Buffett says here about businesses' individual stocks is also true of every other investment asset. A primary reason why people lose money when they invest is that they invest in assets or businesses they don't understand. The most important investment you can make is in yourself. There are two things you should constantly invest in: your ability to make money and your ability to make money work for you. That was it for this video. If you want to see 10 more quotes, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell, and we will see you in the next video.